Hello, babes. My name is Nadia Sayapin of Nadia Reads and Writes, and I'm so happy you're here with me for the Reads portion of my channel. What we're reading today is book 2 of my trilogy, The Irregulars. I'm trying to see if I have a copy on hand to hold up and show you, and I don't. This is a dystopian action adventure with women in leading roles. We are on chapter 4 of the book, and I am reading it out loud for a friend of mine who requires audiobooks. But since I don't have any, we're doing this one chapter at a time. If this is your first time here, welcome! I'm so happy you made it. However, if this is your first time here, you want to at least start with the prologue of this book, if not the entire previous. So I guess I'm far enough in. I should probably start including the link to this playlist as well. But I will also have the playlist for the Rebels if you want to start with the actual book 1. So without further ado, let's get into it. Chapter 4 of The Irregulars. Man 1. How the fuck is banning the guns I make a good thing? The president's going too far. Man 2. Shut up! I've brought you this far, haven't I? Think long term. Cooper won't be in office forever, and I have just the man to help us out. Transcript of phone recording, 11:23 p.m., March 23rd, 2049. A month after we'd moved the trucks into the garage, I leaned inside the engine block of an ancient minivan, socket wrench in one hand and the water-stained user's manual propped on the oil filter next to me. The parts in here weren't an exact match for what I needed, but with a bit of machining, I could make it work in a gray van that had a solid undercarriage. With one finger marking the relevant passage, I found the part in the engine, then felt around for the bolt. I sighed, relaxing into the work. I hadn't lost my knack of getting the right size socket on the first try. Then I heard, "Captain! Captain!" Reluctantly, I levered up, hand still in the belly of the machine, prepared to glare unholy death at the unfortunate who dared disturb me. Seahorse, uncharacteristically, raced in, weaving between the cars and thumping to a halt against the van I worked on, rocking it. I hissed as I fumbled the wrench. "What?" I snapped, leaning back into the block. Grunting, I stretched, trying to reach the stupid thing. "Forget that! You'll never guess what I saw!" "Right now, unless it has to do with imminent death, I don't care." "Phoenix and Griffin have been talking to Kestrel. Together." I straightened up so quickly I whacked my head against the hood. Cussing and rubbing my head, I abandoned the wrench and gave her my full attention. Beautiful by all of society's standards, endlessly pursued by men before, angry, nasty, gutter fighter Phoenix had let go of her rage enough to visit our shrink to make sure she was emotionally healthy enough to get into a relationship. She'd dealt more black eyes and given more sore balls to the local men than anyone else here. But if she was giving that up for the man who'd saved her life, took her seriously, and listened when she talked, brava, Phoenix. "Go on," I urged her. Knowing what another person is up to makes it easier to ensure they have privacy if they want it. And I was all in to ensure that Phoenix had the space she needed to get to know a hottie like Griffin. For the sake of making sure they were compatible, of course. Yeah, not like we were living vicariously. Nope, not at all. They were definitely sneaking. Seahorse lowered her voice, clutching the van for support. Like, stereotypical checking both ways, leaving one at a time, all of it. Do you think our girl's gonna score with an actual famous actor? I snorted. If anybody could, it'd be her. If I'd met her in normal day-to-day life, I'd have a small problem with jealousy. Green eyes, sandy blonde hair with natural red highlights once her white blonde dye grew out, petite and curvy, Phoenix could give an inferiority complex to a model without even trying. She made me feel like a gigantic freak. You should have seen him rescue her. It was some movie quality shit, and I'd be gaga over him if I were her. Hey! Sirius hailed us as soon as she walked in. She must have come here straight from outside because she had snow on her hat. Her younger dog, Obelix, trotted beside her. Why are we in here? Phoenix won't talk to me and... Seahorse waved her over frantically. Get your ass over here! You're never gonna believe this! By the time Seahorse filled her in, Sirius was leaning against the van, wheezing with laughter. "Remember what you said about the bras?" she gasped. I frowned. "That Al did a damn good job?" "No! About Tom Carrington holding your boobs!" I choked. "Oh, fuck! I'd forgotten about that. Shit! I need a drink." She held up a hand. "Say no more." Sirius fished a flask out of her jacket, her wicked smile wide enough to show the gap in her teeth. "Afya Yako," she toasted. Later that day, I was stuck in the armory, taking stock of ammunition and captured weaponry. Normally, the job was frustrating because, for me, 2 plus 2 doesn't always equal 4. But today, my thoughts were racing. Mostly running in circles about how I could possibly look Griffin in the face after Sirius reminded me of my comment, with generous amounts of speculation included. "What the hell are you muttering to yourself about?" Phoenix demanded behind me. Spinning around, I gave her a guilty smile. As in, I should never play poker. Nothing? You are so full of shit, you know that?" I giggled, then clamped a hand over my mouth, eyes wide, face turning red with the effort. My stomach hurt and my shoulders shook with the force of suppressing the laugh, not helped by her irritated grimace and folded arms. Losing the battle, I howled with laughter, sinking to the floor while she glared at me. Phoenix stood over me, oozing disapproval. "Will you just spit it out?" Screeching and gasping, I struggled upright and cupped my breasts. "What I said about the bras and Griffin?" I wiggled my eyebrows suggestively, snorting and snickering. "Is it true?" Her eyes got huge and she sucked in a deep breath when the object of our discussion walked through the door, Archangel hot on his heels. She turned bright red and I made a sound like a balloon deflating and sank back to the floor, cackling. The 2 men joined Phoenix in staring down at me, though they were more puzzled than anything. I squirmed but couldn't catch my breath enough to get up. Then Griffin asked, "Does she do this often? Because I don't remember seeing this before, and I'm fairly sure this isn't proper behavior for a rebel leader." "This vocal? No." Phoenix glared down her nose at me, the blush crawling down her neck. "This stupid? Unfortunately, yes. All I can say is she lives in the gutter. So far down that even a rope and ladder couldn't get to her." I wasn't," I cracked up again. "Fuck it, yes, I am." Phoenix waited until I met her eyes. "I wish I could say I expected better of you, but this is par for the course where you're concerned." Just when I thought she was angry beyond belief, she gave me the tiniest wink and nod. My jaw dropped. "Did she?" "She did!" Too many things tried to tumble out at once and I choked. Spinning on her heel, she faced Griffin directly. "Did you need us for something?" Yes." Griffin looked between us, completely lost, bless his heart. "Seahorse called a meeting in the useless room. Tracks in the area that aren't ours." I leaned against the wall with a groan and a giggle. "No rest for the wicked." "Or the filthy-minded," Phoenix said loftily, marching to the door. Griffin followed, giving me a confused, concerned look. Archangel just grinned and reached down to help me to my feet. "Finally learned they're interested in each other, huh?" I was still sputtering when he dragged me into the useless room, where Seahorse was kicked back in a chair, stocking feet on the table. Sirius waited impatiently by the map. "Mouse found tracks to the south and east," Sirius said without preamble. She referred to a small teenage rescue who had become the head of our perimeter guard until she got old enough that we'd let her into the fighters. We all drew the line at 13 for being in the field. "Footprints. We backtracked them to tire tracks, 2 chimeras. Thing is, there were more footprints than Steve usually puts in a truck. They're hunting on foot." South and east was the Opal Creek area, where we'd had a fight with Steve last summer, right after Steve tried to use the sisters, Lightning and Thunder, to draw us out. The women had been captured after we'd gone into Salem to rescue our spy's daughter, Olivia. It turned into a clusterfuck, especially when they gave in to revenge instead of pulling back. Griffin looked at our solemn faces. "What's so bad about that? Looks like there's a mountain between us and them." "On foot, that's a good distance." Archangel leaned over to draw a line on the map with his finger. But with cars, trucks, or long-range missiles? Nope, we don't want them anywhere close to here. I sat forward, resting my forearms on the table. The only question I see is whether it would be easier to convince them we're really south or north. I have a better question. Archangel grinned, pushing his hair back off his forehead. How many should we bring to fuck Steve up? An answering smile pulled at my lips. Keep them so busy on their turf they have no time to hunt for ours? He nodded. You guys know what they generally carry, you're good at finding them, and you're better in winter conditions than they are. So we go out in 2 small teams, 20 to 30 each, with a set area to cover. From everything I've heard, they don't do well in cold or altitudes, right? I nodded. And we won't have to deal with snow down there. Sirius snorted. I'd rather have snow. The mud gets everywhere. Can't be that bad. Phoenix laughed and shook her head. The valley is very different. Very different. Anyway, she limped over to the wall where we kept a list of potential sites and frequent patrol routes. We've got more than enough to keep us busy. So, it's a question of who should be on the teams, Sergeant Perry said. Not really, I shrugged. Even with your lot, it'll still take all of us to get to 60. Perry nodded and stood, pacing slowly around the table. We'll need to talk to your quartermaster, determine what supplies we can bring with us. He looked around and settled on Driver and Dry Eyes. What is the state of the supplies here? Amana laughed. Don't ask them. I think your quartermaster is me. I rolled my eyes. She really didn't need to lay the accent on so thick. Perry just goggled at the teenager, taken by surprise that she was also in charge of all the supplies. He looked from her to me and back again, trying to wrap his head around this new concept. I waved a hand. If you want to be called the quartermaster, fine. I have no idea what to call everything you do anyway. Chef too. I sighed. Fine. Any other titles you'd like? I will tell you when I decide. That's it for Chapter 4. I hope you'll join me again next week for Chapter 5. And if you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, comment, let other people know. And I will see you again next week.